When Nishino, the heiress of a major firm, awakens, she realizes that she slept off last night while reading. She bathes and prepares for school. She is cordially welcomed by all of the students because she is well known. She meets a boy named Kagenou, whom she dislikes since he only has lower middle academic standing and average physical ability. Although they had both been in the same class for 3 months, he cannot recall her name. Nishino is perplexed that Kagenou has not noticed her despite her attractiveness and beauty. She once had to wear a mask when conversing due to an acting scandal. She contacts her driver after school, but he doesn't answer since he was beaten by some men. He doesn't arrive to bring her home, so Nishino has to walk the rest of the way home. The men who thrashed the driver abduct her while she travels. She sees Kagenou as she begins to lose consciousness. Nishino later awakens while still bound in a warehouse. The kidnapper advises her that Nishino, Zaibatsu's daughter, shouldn't go out alone at night. The other captor assures her that as long as she remains there and they collect the ransom, she will be set free. Kagenou monitors the kidnapper outside before changing into new clothes and donning a mask. Then Kagenou exits the roof window, claiming to be a stylish ruffian slayer. The man then understands that he is Balaclava Berserker, a man who has been using crowbars to battle the motorcyclists. Kagenou successfully disarms the kidnappers with crowbars. Nishino is eventually let go by Kagenou, who advises her to use caution in the future. After that, Nishino calls the police and her father uses his contacts to prevent the matter from becoming public. The following day, Nishino attends class. When she recognizes Kagenou, she waves to him and he responds by calling her Nishino. She is about to correct him when she notices that he has her name correctly, and this time she notices that he is staring at her. She then believes that he is also leading a concealed existence. The following morning, the news reveals that Minoru Kagenou was killed after being struck by a truck. Kagenou has never forgotten when he first began to harbor a dream of becoming a hero. He trained all day and played a background character at school. He has gotten to the point where he can knock up certain folks, but he is helpless against armed men. Kagenou is born again on a brand new planet after being struck by a truck. He creates a group with his crew. He has also developed magic as a new talent. Kagenou is informed by Alpha that everything he mentioned was accurate and that she discovered references to the Cult of Diablos in old manuscripts. Kagenou is resurrected as the son of a remote aristocracy named Baron Kagenou. He grasps the issue quickly and detects magic in the air. The older sister of Kagenou, Claire, is very talented, and the family has high expectations for her. Kagenou develops into a background character who doesn't attract any notice, yet at night he emerges and engages bandits in combat. He also discovers a cage containing several decaying animals. He brings it home and does various experiments on it, including shooting it with magic. He eventually succeeds in controlling the magical overflow. The monster then transforms back into its regular shape. The Cult of Diablos is planning to bring the devil back, he continues. Kagenou works in the shadows to dismantle the cult while most individuals have forgotten about Diablos. She says they need to uncover more hero ancestors and grow their organization when Sid asks her to join him. Sid concurs and calls their company Shadow Garden. Now 13 years old Kagenou. He trains against his sister and has no trouble winning. Claire vanishes the day before she must leave for the academy. According to Bida, Claire was likely abducted by a high-ranking agent of the Cult of Diablos while she was still alive. Kagenou creates a slime blade and hurls it at the map as Bida pulls out a map. He ultimately misses the hiding place. He instructs her to contact the Seven Shadows. The Seven Shadows effortlessly dismember Grease's troops. How do they know that name and its mysteries, thinks Grease? Alpha counters his strike by hurting him. Grease consumes medication to increase his magic. He runs away after shattering the floor. Alpha advises the females not to pursue him because Shadow is pursuing him. Shadow encounters Grease while exploring the caverns. He assaults Grease before deciding to teach him a lesson and deflecting his blows. Grease gets more tablets and boosts his strength as he wants to demonstrate to Shadow that people are useless, frail, and powerless, so he starts slashing him. Shadow can deflect his blows, and he then dispatches Grease with a great deal of magic. He observes that although he was helpless against the darkness, perhaps Shadow was not. Grease falls. The following day, Claire arrives home with a foul attitude. Overnight, her wounds begin to heal, and she leaves for the academy. Kagenou is ready to attend the academy personally, but it's okay because he still has 2 more years to work with the girls. The moment has come to leave him, says Alpha. Kagenou believes that's just a polite way of them letting him know that they're old enough to seek their independence and are done with the game of fighting the cult. He joins the same school at the age of 15 as his sister in the Midgar Kingdom's capital. 7 months into his time at the academy, he is still a supporting figure and has made friends with Skell Etal and Po Tado. Kagenou is reminded by Skell and Po that since he received the lowest test result, his punishment is to confess to the most popular girl in school and risk her rejection. He feels he did a terrific job with his supporting character confession when he goes to admit it to Alexia, that night shivering and muttering. She accepts, much to his astonishment. The other kids are shocked when Alexia later joins them for lunch. He is learning royal bush and fencing, and Alexia wants to train with him. Later, Kagenou joins the Section 1 team whose coach is official royal fencing trainer Zenon Griffey. Zenon is informed by Alexia that Kagenou is now her boyfriend. After that, Kagenou questions Alexia about her choice of a low-class aristocrat who was simple to manage as someone to help her break off her engagement to Zenon. He jumps and grabs the gold coin with his mouth while pretending to be a dog as Alexia pulls it out and throws it. Kagenou decides not to debate her and simply concurs with everything she says. Alexia admits that she has always aspired to be as competent as her sister. She decided to grow stronger on her own because she lacked what her sister had. Alexia was given the moniker the fencing ordinaire in the end. However, Kagenou's fencing is average like hers, but he claims he appreciates her fencing and doesn't think it unfortunate. Kagenou adds that although he isn't a good person and wouldn't care if 1,000,000 people were killed, there are some things that, while others may consider them useless, are the most valuable things in life to him, which is why he admires her fencing technique. Inquiring as to what he intends by saying Alexia pulls her blade. When the train stops, Alexia gets off and bids Kagenou farewell, leading him to believe that their uncomfortable connection is over. Skell and Po express their regrets to Kagenou for informing Alexia of everything. According to Zenon, Kagenou should be aware that Alexia didn't come back to her hostel last night and that they are looking into the possibility of a kidnapping. Kagenou is their top suspect because he was last seen with her. Alexia awakens in a cell while bound. She notices a humanoid monster. A stranger arrives to take her royal blood, claiming it is demon blood and that he will bring the demon back to life. Kagenou is being pummeling and questioned about where the princess is while all of this is happening. He becomes enthused and decides to act appropriately because he thinks this is such a typical minor character interrogation. As a result, he starts screaming and sobbing that he doesn't know anything. Iris is informed by Zenon that he holds himself accountable for Alexia's abduction. Although there is proof of Alexia's kidnapping, according to Zenon, Kagenou shouldn't have been able to do it given his degree of expertise. Iris chooses to release him because it has been 5 days, but she directs them to keep tabs on him. After being let go, Sid returns home. When Alpha appears, he or she informs the group that they are expanding and learning more about the cult. Alexia was abducted by the cult because of her blood, according to Alpha, and they are looking into it. She questions him about whether he wants her to get rid of the people who questioned him, but Kagenou says no. Delta is present, and Alpha also lets him know that she has been overlooking him. While waiting, Kagenou places his eminence in Shadow's room and drinks wine. Beta declares that they are prepared and that under Alpha's instructions they have rounded up all of the capital's employees. She hands her a letter and announces that he will be filling Delta's position. After leaving his home, Kagenou murders the 2 knights. Next, the Shadow Garden launched its assault. As they approach, the doctor informs Alexia and rushes to the scene. The man isn't terrified of the knights despite Alexia's best efforts to convince him that they don't murder without a cause. He points out that he created a prototype that should function even with a subpar outcome, like just beside Alexia's room. The deformed thing becomes stronger and larger as he injects it, killing the man. The creature then releases Alexia by severing her bonds, much to her amazement. Zenon reveals that this is his institution and that he was paying the doctor as Alexia searches for an exit. She smiles because she has always believed that he is not mentally sound. Zenon says that he will be assured the 12th place in the Knights of the Rounds, the highest-ranked knights in the order, with her blood and his study. Zenon easily disarms Alexia when she assaults him because he is no competition for her. Then Kagenou appears and introduces Shadow. Shadow is the one who has been pursuing the cult, according to Zenon. He moves behind Zenon and makes fun of him as he assaults Shadow. The knight confronts the monster that has fled to the surface, but their blows are ineffectual because the monster simply heals. The monster receives a more significant wound when Iris arrives, but it is also healed. Then Alpha attacks the monster, heals it, and transforms it back into a young girl. She is identified by Alpha as being Meleagris's daughter. Xenon decides to take things more seriously and employs more magical power, but Shadow still has an easy time defeating him. When Xenon becomes enraged, he keeps attacking Shadow, who can stop him with ease. When Alexia saw the struggle, she was astounded and remembered her youthful dreams of becoming better than her sister. Xenon is enraged and demands to know why Shadow is concealing his identification if he is so powerful after Shadow cuts him. Shadow identifies as the Shadow Garden and claims that their primary purpose in life is to hunt in the shadows. After taking the pills, Xenon changed. Xenon assaults Shadow, but he is once again easily blocked by him. He then creates a magic ring around Xenon, which given its strength astounds him. Xenon tries to slash him since he thinks he's mad, but his blade breaks as it strikes Shadow. Then he repeats, "I am atomic." Then there is a big explosion that creates a sizable crater in the middle of the city. Alexia discovers herself in the center of the crater unhurt. Eris recognizes her, descends, gives her a bear embrace, and expresses gratitude that she is still alive. As soon as Alexia gets back to school, she informs Kagenou of what transpired. They were faking a relationship, but Xenon has since passed away. Alexia asks Kagenou if he wants to continue the relationship, but he declines. Alexia is shocked by that and starts attacking him. There was a lot of blood there, but no deaths or reported missing persons were discovered. As a result, the case eventually came to be known as the Bodiless Murder, one of the school's 7 mysteries. The girls from Shadow Garden are thrilled to hear a report from Zeta, who located the objective and will be looking into it. The research for Ida is also progressing well. Iris is now aware of the Shadow Garden and its cult. She chooses to create a fresh research team with Glenn and Marco since she has faith in them. Sherry Barnett runs upon Kagenou, who is bleeding from Alexia's attack, while Kagenou is reading and carrying books. Kagenou claims to have done nothing since breaking up with Alexia, according to his buddies. He is advised by Skell to win girls by giving them chocolate. Kagenou concurs because he is likewise interested in learning what chocolate is. Eris shows Sherry Barnett an artifact they discovered in the cult's lair and asks her to interpret it. Sherry gets encouragement from her father. Iris agrees to help Alexia with her request. Kagenou, Skell, and Poe must wait in line for their turns when they travel to the store. While they are waiting, a store employee asks them to complete a survey. Gamma greets Kagenou as he enters the shop. She tells him that she has other franchises in the cities after he congratulates her. The newest member of the Numbers, is introduced by Gamma. He then informs Gamma that he desires to buy 3 chocolate bars of the lowest grade, but she responds by offering to give him chocolate of the greatest quality for free. Kagenou steals 1 coin and they dash back home. When Kagenou later enters the back alley where he had heard Alexia fighting, he is shocked to discover her battling some Shadow Garden guys. They succeed in hurting her, but Kagenou, posing as Shadow Garden, intervenes and kills one of the attackers before warning the other attackers that they will also suffer for imitating Shadow Garden. Nu then makes an arm cut across the man's chest to disarm him. A man tells the knight that the puppet and the other 2 men have vanished. Iris is informed by Alexia that the murderer was posing as Shadow Garden. Then Alexia asks her if the Shadow Garden or the cult pose a real threat. Iris says it's both. On the school bus, the following day, rumors started to circulate that Sid had peed his pants. To end his background character moment, Kagenou intends to give his chocolate to the first girl he meets. He then delivers the chocolate to Sherry when she is seated next to him. When Sherry informs her father that a boy handed her something, her father assumes it is a gift and deduces that it was probably love at first sight. He must be awaiting a response, so he thinks about what she would say. Additionally, he tells her how fortunate he is to have a daughter who is so good and how essential study and research are. Sherry claims that because he adopted her, she is the fortunate one.